All right, we're loading into a 1v1, me versus DahvPlays. Dav's going to be at the helm of the High Elves while I play the brand new Lizardmen with Nakai. Now, with Nakai, we get a lot of great new kind of things added to the Lizardmen roster, so let's take a quick look at them. With Nakai, of course, we get just the big bone daddy in which he is. Like, take a look at how just sleek and sexual he is. Now we take a look at Nakai. We've got some nice abilities. For one, Primal Roar gives us 22% physical resistance and melee attack to everything in a 30-meter radius around Nakai. In addition to that, though, everything will be subject to Rampage, which is kind of a little spicy, but at the same time, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. It makes for a lot of really fun synergies to really help Nakai push through the front line of any kind of denser or I guess more concentrated conflict. Now, also he has Miasma of Despair, which is a persistent effect around him. Now, the way that this works is, I'm sorry, not a persistent effect, an ability effect here, that it'll reduce leadership, speed, and vigor to anyone that is caught up in the Miasma's radius, which can be really good when you're trying to chase things down. I mean, he still has 50 speed, so Nakai himself is not that fast, but at the same time, if he pops this, he can catch any characters that are on mounts or on large creatures before they can really get away from him. So this is our first little showcasing of Nakai here today. This is the embargo lift, so we can show off some of the other goods here as well, like the Sacred Kroxigor. These are the new Kroxigor units that are added with the new Huntsman and Beast DLC. Now these guys will have magic attacks as well as a whopping 120 AP damage coming out of them. They have these really cool just sock 'em bopper attachments on their arms, and they're really just a solid all-around unit for the Lizardmen. They can hold their own a lot better than the normal Kroxigor can, in my opinion. They just do a lot of damage. They can really stay in the fight for the long and narrow of it, and ultimately, I think they're a really cool new unit. Now, you probably see in the background another big new unit. Let's take a look at the Feral Dread Saurian. Now, this bad boy is one of three variants. We have the Feral Dread Saurian, the Dread Saurian, and then the Ripper or Shredder of Lustria, the Regiment of Renown version of the Dread Saurian. Now, in my humble opinion, anecdotally at least, the Feral Dread Saurian is the one that is actually worth it. The other two are 32 and 3,800 points respectively. This guy's only 2,800, so he can actually fit into your army without taking up so much of your resources. And in addition to that, he's very strong. 750 weapon strength, with a lot of it being predominantly AP here. You can take a look. 530 of it is dedicated solely to that AP damage. So he's going to be able to mulch up a lot of the more hard targets for Lizardmen to crack open. In addition to that, he has 100 armor, and look at this, a whopping 60 speed. This guy actually is quite quick, and if you were to take the Dread Saurian variant, they can actually do a little bit of kiting because the Dread Saurian has a Howdah, and it can do poison damage, so there's a lot of action going on with our Feral Dread Saurian. And in addition here, the rest of this army is going to have 2 units of Saurus Warriors with shields and 2 Saurus Spears with shields. On the flanks, we have 1 unit of Coldwind Spearriders on both flanks here. And we're also going to be seeing a unit of Skink Skirmishers, followed by a Heavens Caster here, who's going to have both Wind Blast and Harmonic Convergence. Oh, I also took the Cube of Darkness to help shut down some of the casting we see on the High Elf front line more often than not. Now, as far as DahvPlays' army here, he has a large amount of Lyrian Reavers, 1, 2 here, and then some Silver Helms in the back there with shields. He's also going to be having, there we go, 1, 2, 3 units of White Lions. I believe one of these is the Pure Main Company, if I can find it. I am full of shit. Then he also has 1, 2, 3, 4 units of Spearmen. He has Tyrion over here on the far right flank with Sunfang and Riposte, I believe. Take a look there. I am correct. And we also see a Flamespire Phoenix. Now, these will be able to drop bombs across the entire battlefield and do quite a bit of damage here, but this overall should be a lot of fun to just see that Dread Saurian in all of its glory. That's really the focal point of this battle. That's why we're all here, is to see some brand new units, and that's what we're going to see here today. This embargo will only cover Lizardmen, so it can only show you some of the new Lizard models here. We don't have the Dread Saurian with a Howdah. There is obviously not the ancient Kroxigor, which is the generic general version of Nakai here. So we see our first charge here right into these units of Illyrian Reavers from our Cold One Spear Riders. On our left flank and middle here, we can see that our skirmishers are shooting up into this Flamespire Phoenix, trying to get some poison on it to slow down. But we can also see that Tyrion is jumping in onto those Cold One Spear Riders, trying to negate a lot of the AP anti-large that these guys bring to the table. They're very good at chewing up a lot of the cavalry options that you typically see with what are these guys called? With those High Elves. Now we're getting some Spearman play pushing into those Illyrian Reavers, trying to help out with a lot of the action going on over here. Let's take a look at the left flank here. Now, Dav has pushed pretty much everything onto this leftmost flank, and it is going to be quite a bit of trouble for me. I mean, I do only have these Cold One Spear Riders over here, and 2 units of Silver Helms are going to be able to make short work of a lot of my center forces. But the Dread Saurian is on the move with Nakai in tow, and really they can do a lot of damage when they're put in conjunction with each other. With the ability to slow things down from Nakai and all the massive amount of damage that the Feral Dread Saurian can put out, it's going to be quite a buffet of spearmen and helmets here. We can see that we've already made contact here with the majority of the army. The Saurus Spearmen and Warriors squaring off against our both White Lions. Ooh, and the Flamespire Phoenix doing some good drops here from DahvPlays onto our Saurus Warriors as well. Let's take a look at that Dread Saurian. Just watch this Mammoth just slapping through all of these units here. It can do so much damage, and it's pretty impervious at the same time. It does have 100 armor, so it's able to do quite a bit. What do we have going on? Looking for... Oh, there it is. Aha. I was looking for my Skink Priest of Heavens here. We have a Sunfang just ripping through some of our Cold One Spear Riders on the far left here. Nakai has gotten onto Tyrion as well. Miasma Despair is slowing him down. Fainted Riposte is also helping him to mitigate some of that damage coming out from Nakai, but Nakai is going to be dealing quite a bit of damage himself. 520 AP is nothing to scoff at. We've also seen that our Cold One Spear Riders are out of control. The Dread Saurian here is pushing into the main force as a Wind Blast rips through this unit of White Lions, actually doing more damage to my Saurus Warriors right now. But we can see that the Feral Dread Saurian has now been locked down with a net of Amantok. If there were a lot of archers for the High Elves, I'd be in bad shape. But we can see the Sacred Kroxigors are slapping their way through tons of Spearmen and White Lions over here. They're holding the line here, but they are getting put into a dumpster pretty handedly, unfortunately. We have the Skink Priest of Heavens looking to kind of get out of the way of the Flamespire Phoenix. Tyrion having to come out of this fight pretty low in health there. Nakai was doing quite a bit of damage. All this anti-large, pretty well dedicated towards shutting down the High Elf Prince of Kothic over there. As you can see, though, the Dread Saurian has now shuck out of its net of Amantok, and it has a new target, the Mage of Light, for DahvPlays here. He's bringing over everything from this left flank, and has, again, handedly dealt with my 3 units of Saurus on this portion of the field here. We're getting Nakai to, again, jump right onto Tyrion. He's got Stand Your Ground pop, so he's going to be able to mitigate a little bit of damage here with that melee defense. But Nakai is looking to just bulldoze things over, being supported by his Cold One Spear Riders and Sacred Kroxigors. He's bringing in all the might of that Feral Dread Saurian. He wants that Tyrion ass bad, hard, and dirty. Just look at this thing, just slapping its way through stuff. Making his way downtown towards that Mage of Light. Boop, 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 boop. Tyrion is in bad shape here, but at the same time, Nakai is pretty well surrounded by his bros, so he's going to be in a little bit better of a situation, but there's quite a bit coming his direction from these Spearmen, from these White Lions of Trace. And you can see here that Tyrion is not going to probably make it out of this conflict. He is getting... Oh, and a Heart of Averlorn at the last second helps him out because he just saved that burst damage. That, oh man, he went from almost full to almost dead in like 2 seconds. That's, I think, the one thing to notice about both the Feral Dread Saurian and Nakai the Wanderer. While this is still kind of all in production until we get the full release, their attack animations don't quite land as well as they should, and when they do a decimating amount of damage, but sometimes they just kind of, the attack animation will go off and it won't quite hit. But you can see Primal Roar has been active, getting 22% of physical resistance here. That's really going to help out. The balance of power bar has shifted heavily in Dav's favor. But the Dread Saurian is at a good amount of health, and he does so much damage. The big thing here, though, is there's 2 full health units of Silver Helms with not much to threaten them in the way of anti-large. So we can really see how this fight is going to start progressing as stuff starts to swarm both Nakai and our Feral Dread Saurian. That's one thing to also note. Nakai has 120 armor. He is so beastly. He also has a nice 40 melee defenses, which isn't super high, but a nice 60 melee attack makes it so that all of his really heavy hits will be hitting a little bit more regularly than otherwise. And he really is, I think, a very beefy lord. His ability to give 22% physical resistance is nothing to scoff at. In addition to the Miasma of Despair, he can slow down characters like Tyrion or any of those flying characters that would go to typically seem to goon him. He can really kind of get a good upper hand on them. Like right now, Nakai's got a pretty good bead on Tyrion. Hopefully he can finish him off. Really at this point, it's all about forcing Nakai to attack Tyrion. When you are in a single entity duel like this and you're surrounded, you want to make sure you are spam right-clicking on any single entity target you want to focus down. As we can see here, DahvPlays has pulled ahead and won this match. He handedly beat me. In this scenario, too, I really wanted to showcase the Sacred Kroxigors and the Feral Dread Saurian. We unfortunately don't have any Razordons in this quick battle. We do have plenty more quick battles to come where we do showcase some of the other units from the Lizardmen. We have some testing videos that we've got on the horizon too. Plenty of other stuff in the works, guys. But as always, thank you so much for watching here today. Plenty more coming, a lot more reveals coming out from Creative Assembly, so we'll be covering those in depth. I'm just super stoked on the new DLC, so I'm a little scatterbrained. So, as a whole, thanks so much for watching. Have a good one, and take care.